Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Whoop whoop. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I am back from my fun Cabo trip. I am here in person with Meredith, Lynch. I've spoken about you. Welcome to Juicy Scoop, girl.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I found you on TikTok, then followed you on Instagram, and then we started DMing each other because of a certain former housewife that was coming after your journalistic citizen journalism.
Yeah, that's what she calls it.
Yes. Which I love. And I that's why I love TikTok. And so actually I was just asking you, what do you think about the whole TikTok hearings happening?
I think that it's like winding down. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that it's like, if we're going to do that about social media, it has to be across the board. They're like, oh, what will happen if an 8-year-old goes on TikTok? Well, like, should an 8-year-old have a cell phone?
But I also feel like these people doing it, as someone that's my age,
Yeah.
that like really has enjoyed TikTok for a lot of reasons. When I mention it to somebody who's not on it and using it as a regular app,
Yeah.
they always are like thinking I'm watching like teenagers dance.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's not what it is.
Right.
And like, and I actually saw Brittany Furlan do this in
Yeah.
defense of TikTok versus Instagram. And she goes, you know, like Instagram, if your phone's there and you're talking about trying to find a wide-legged jean,
Right.
you're going to open up Instagram and you're going to see all these ads for wide-legged jeans.
Right.
TikTok doesn't even work that their whole fear of like that actually doesn't work. This is her, just
Right.
come after me. I'm just saying. But what it does do is if you watch certain types of videos, then more of that will come in your For You page. So if you're really interested in the Ukraine war, you're going to see more and more on that.
Right.
And what I like about that is one time I took my son's phone away.
Yeah.
And then my phone was like dead or something. So we have the same code. So
Yeah.
I go, I'm going to look at what's on his For You
Yeah.
page. And my heart was beating. I didn't know what I was going to see.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to see, a bunch of like booty flapping. I didn't know I was going to see scary, dark shit. Like I didn't know what I was going to see. And I was so happy. It was like either funny, like teenage prank
Right.
kids doing not bad stuff.
Right.
But then like a lot of really great like old history lessons and like new
my God.
stuff.
He's like so half Peter, half Heather.
Yeah, like but he was like, so it was like he'll be saying to me like, Mom, do you know who this person is? And I'm like, no. And he goes, well, she survived a plane crash in 1996 and she was the only person and she was 12 and da-da-da-da and it happened in Yemen. And like, I'm like, and so I'm just like, I
Right.
don't think
But how old is he?
he's 17, but he's
Right.
been enjoying it, for like 2-3 years.
Right. And that's fine. That's an
And-
appropriate age. He can handle it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I think that's a big part of it is like
Maybe
how
you're
much
right.
of the decisions
Yeah.
that you make are like, you're like, okay, my kid's ready to do that. Okay, my kid's not.
Yeah.
So like, it's really up to a parent.
Right.
Like you couldn't go see an NC-17 movie when you were 12, like unless
Yeah.
a parent took you. Right.
Yeah.
And that's on a parent's, like some of it really lies with the house. Like
Right.
what you think works for your kid.
Totally. So anyway, hopefully it won't happen because I do really enjoy it. And I agree. I don't think it's their place to do it. And I don't think some of these people questioning know what the hell they're talking about. But what I do want to talk about is that Britney Spears was in Cabo when I was there.
Oh my God.
She was at the Los Ventanos.
So you're in the same hotel.
No,
Okay.
we were at Chalino Bay Resort,
Okay.
which I highly recommend. I've
Okay.
never been there. I absolutely love it. I want to say I did not get any deal.
Yep.
I paid every cent, but I posted a lot. So if there's any other resort that would like a Heather McDonald review, and you might want to, throw in a free
Yeah.
cocktail or something,
Mhm.
I'd be happy to do the same for you.
It looked beautiful.
But what I like about where we stayed, it's the one place that I've been aware of in Mexico that you can really like go right in and snorkel.
Oh,
Because it's not
nice.
like Hawaii where
Yeah,
it's like,
the water
yes,
is like because the water's really rough in Cabo sometimes, right?
usually it
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
And so it's like a lot of beautiful resorts where you're
Mhm.
looking over the water or you can watch the beach, but they like recommend you don't swim on it. There's
Right.
nobody boogie boarding, at least near the big resorts.
Right.
So this resort, Los Ventanos, is about an 8-minute drive from us.
Okay.
And she was there spinning around and dancing and everything. And there was a couple things. She was with this guy named Cade Hudson.
Okay. Who's he?
So I'm glad you asked. So I met him once at Craig's, where I meet everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And pretty sure he's an out gay man.
Okay.
He worked at CAA. He
Mhm.
represented all these people,
Mhm.
but he got in trouble when this one heterosexual actor came forward in which he denied, saying that Cade was soliciting him for sex and
Okay.
parts and all this.
Okay.
He denied it. Anyway, he is now her manager. And he
Oh.
went on and I don't know if he's still at CAA or what.
Wow. Okay.
And he went on the trip with her,
Right.
not Sam.
Oh.
Sam was not there.
Okay.
And so people were wondering about it.
Right.
But and I'm like, okay, so my question is, what is he managing her? Managing the Shein outfits that she buys and then spins around in
Right.
them?
I mean, she's not working, right?
She's not working.
Okay.
Now, granted, I'm glad she wasn't alone. He
Right.
seems like a fun guy.
Okay.
And I'm pretty 100% pretty sure he's gay, allegedly.
Right.
Which makes it safer that she's with him.
Right.
And they're spinning around and having fun. But I'm like, why is he now her? Because she had this other manager
Right.
rolled off.
Mhm.
Anyway, forgot his name. He stepped down in 2021. He was
Okay.
like, I just don't even want to be a part of this. I
Yes.
wish her luck. Good luck. Get out of the conservatory. So now this guy claims he's the manager. And I'm like, well, what are you, again?
But how does a manager make money? Don't you make money based off the percentage that your like client makes?
Yeah, so I don't think he's making any money. I think he just enjoyed the free trip.
Sure.
But I think for the same reason Sam didn't go, I think this all gets old. For the
Right.
husband, for the best friend,
Right.
for the assistant, for the quote unquote manager.
Right.
You think it's so great to order a margarita and be in in a beautiful beach setting, but like if all you're doing is like hanging out with this person who's spinning around in a $12 dress,
Right.
I don't know how fun that can be for the rest of your life.
And how are you going to make any money? Like, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
that's your job, right? You're her
Right.
manager. How are you going to make any money? Unless it's just sort of, you're like, okay, I'm going to manage her for like 6 months. And then people are going to be like, oh my God, he managed Britney for a little while. It'll give you a niche,
yeah.
or then you get a reality show, or then you
Yeah.
get a podcast. And like, wouldn't, if you were her, be super careful? Or Sam be super careful?
I think that he's just like, I think Sam wanted the week off.
Okay, fair enough.
I think he's like, go ahead.
I mean, who
and
doesn't?
spin around, go on the private
Right?
jet, go stay in the, $7,000 a night room for
Yeah.
5 days and go have some fun. But one of the things that people constantly bring up
Yeah.
is that her teeth have changed so much.
Yeah.
And that's where the TikTok conspiracy theories, is this really her? And all the research I've done is, yes, Britney is alive. This is her.
Were people around you saying that she was there? Like, was that like a rumor at the resort? Because I feel like that could be.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So my friends who were staying there,
Yes.
the driver said that they had just picked her up on the previous flight.
Okay. Okay.
The rooms that she was in,
Mhm.
spinning around and posting, are the rooms at the Los Ventanas. And so is the beach setting.
Right.
So
Okay.
yes, 100% she was there.
Yes.
And I think she left like on Saturday. And so I never got the opportunity to run into her.
Mhm.
But nobody like that I knew saw her out.
Right. I mean, I
Um,
don't think she probably leaves the room that much.
Yeah.
I think she's in the room a lot, probably. And then she goes down and does these photo shoots.
Yeah.
And then she goes back.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe the manager is like, well, I just think it's good that you just stay relevant. So just post and spin and who cares?
Right.
And I really think all these cheap dresses, because there were some doozies this weekend, I think it's like, that is almost like you do with like a little toddler. Like, here are your clothes. This is your dress up.
Yep.
Here's your next 10 outfits.
Yep. It's not going to cost a ton of money.
And it's like, let me spin around and everyone's just like, okay, that keeps her busy.
right.
She's not hurting anyone. I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah,
the
the
teeth
teeth.
thing, everything I've read is people say certain people's teeth will move, even if they were perfect straight before.
Yeah.
With age, certain types of teeth, you probably should have a retainer.
Yep.
I remember hearing from someone before the conservatory was switched
Yeah.
that she wanted to go to the dentist and they wouldn't pay for it.
So
The dad wouldn't or whatever. And so anyway,
I think that's, first of all, I think it's her. I think it's totally true about your teeth because people tell me on Instagram or TikTok all the time. They're like, why didn't your parents get you braces? I'm like, I had braces. Okay. Your teeth, they do move. Your teeth move. And I think most people's move closer together. You know whose teeth also look a little different is Jessica Simpson's.
yeah.
They kind of look like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
It can be also just an unhealthy lifestyle. It can be
Right.
other things, but definitely some people had straight teeth before. And if they don't keep up with a retainer or whatever, just some people's teeth are more likely to move and others will not.
Yeah.
Done. It's no guarantee that your teeth won't move.
I think there are there's a lot of conspiracy theories
Yes.
about her. And I think that there are less of them are true than people think they are.
Yeah.
Like, I think that actually what we're seeing is very real. Like, people will say like, oh, there was like this one about her in Paris a few weeks ago about like how she, Paris like actually like recreated Britney's wedding and this whole thing. And I'm like, no, like this isn't true. I don't believe this. I don't think it's as complex as people think it is. Do I think she's doing well? No.
Do I think there is a actual marriage license? No.
You
No
don't
one
think
has
so?
ever seen it.
Yeah. See, but that's not a conspiracy theory, don't you
No.
think?
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah.
I a lot of stars.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe that even Jennifer Aniston and Justin Theroux were officially married. I think
That was way too easy for it to end,
I
right?
think they may have just had a ceremony. Or
Sure.
I don't even know if Gwyneth Paltrow and her husband are like officially really married. I don't care.
Okay, but her last name is
now
Falchuk.
it's switched.
That's
Okay.
so
But
I
I'm
thought
just saying,
maybe.
I can
Yeah,
see why
but no,
certain
totally.
people
Oh,
are like, we
let's
don't
keep it
really have
separate.
to get married, but I want to have this ceremony and I
Totally.
want the world to know that we're like committed.
Right.
But financially, I don't know. Well, good luck to her.
Yeah.
But it was strange. Okay, let's just close up on that. Gwyneth
Yes.
won. She won her dollar
And her legal fees.
and her legal fees.
Right.
And I saw a really funny meme, so I can't take credit for it. And I'm sorry I can't give the credit. But she leaned over and she said to him, the eye doctor that accused her of all this, I wish you well. And the meme was, this is Brentwood's bless your heart.
Oh my God, it's so true. Oh my God.
I wish him well. It's a very LA thing to say.
I am the menace of Brentwood. That's what I call myself.
Yeah,
I was in a workout class the other day.
Yes.
And this woman was there, and my family lives in like, I'm not going to say exactly where they live, but it's like a beach town that like
Yeah.
most people don't want to live there year round because it's cold. I'm going to compare it to like Montauk.
Okay.
So she was talking about it to somebody else, like just in class chatting.
Yeah.
And so she was like, oh, like, it's a great place, but no one would want to live there year round. And so I turned to her and I go, my family lives there year round. And she was like, her face just dropped. And she was like, all the restaurants closed. I was like, yeah, well, some people enjoy it. And it was like, just letting you know that I am not like, but that's Brentwood, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they just love to get their little digs in.
And
They're
they're
so, like
they're so in their bubble. They're so
right,
clueless.
exactly.
Yeah. Which we saw, a lot inside her bubble.
Right.
We saw that she had a ski instructor for all four of them. I didn't realize they each had
Each
their
one
own
had their own,
friend.
right.
Yeah. And so that was an $8,000 day for the family, and she lost half of that after this traumatic event. And I loved that the attorney on his side was so starstruck and was so like dying to like be her friend.
Right.
And just that she was just, And then, but coming out with it, the stuff that she has said in interviews and done is just unbelievable. But she's extremely privileged. She's got Hollywood privilege.
Totally.
She's got, money. She was married to a famous person. She's married
to a rich
another
guy,
a
right.
rich guy. So, like she said on that CVS receipt or whatever that was, I'm not going to pretend that I'm someone who makes $25,000 a year.
And do you think she came off likable on the stand?
Yeah, because first of all, I do think this case was bullshit. And I don't think
Completely
it was
agree.
fair.
Yes,
And I don't
completely
think it's
agree.
fair to anybody that wants to enjoy skiing. They shouldn't have to worry about this. And it was unheard of. And like, yeah,
Mhm.
once I guess he couldn't sue Deer Valley or lost that, then he
Mhm.
went for her. And it was just all bullshit, but it was fun for us to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was her best role in years. That's what I think.
Okay, so I think that kind of like Kate Hudson
Mhm.
and that has established so many different things, or even Who's the Honest Company, Jessica
Jessica
Alba.
Alba, yeah.
They've made so much money with these products that they kind of are like, fuck it, I don't need to ever act again. And I don't think people realize that acting is really hard work and it's
Yeah,
very
it's exhausting,
You
and
have
these
to
people
go
have
away.
kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to be on your feet.
Yep.
Like you're happy to see it be
Mhm.
wrapped. You're in a trailer. It's 4 a.m. It's
Mhm.
12-hour days. And so I don't think she pursued it. But I think after this, my prediction is there's going to be some really juicy, good, like limited series
Mhm.
streamer that
Yes.
that she is going to star in, and we are going to love it as much as the Nicole Kidman one where they were in
Like, not White Lotus,
the one that they're near the beach with all the girls.
Big Little
Big
Lies.
Little Lies.
Yes.
It's going to be
1,000%.
something like that
She's gonna
where she's
become a
playing
yes.
like a mom of
Yep.
like a college daughter.
Yes.
And something is it's gonna be great, and it because that's what's going to happen, and I'm down for it. Like I'm down, and she whoever she plays
Yeah.
should be a super rich entitled person.
Totally, like the Reese Witherspoon sort of role that
Yes.
she constantly plays. I will say I got one DM about her,
Yeah,
and I can't give all the specifics, but I will say it was somebody who had interacted with her a lot,
yeah,
and no longer does. And they said, I had a lot of clients that were, really notable names in the Brentwood area. They said, was she the best? Was she the nicest? No. They said, was she the worst? The meanest? Absolutely not. Not by a long shot. So I think she knows her role. She knows her
yes,
lane. And I have to tell you, I don't give really can I swear?
yeah.
I don't give a shit about her. And I do think she does stuff that's totally unhinged, but she did come off kind of likable in this. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't help it. I was like, she's kind of playing all of us, I think.
And I'm like, if you're that girl that's gonna go on a Goop and buy a $900 pajama set or
Mhm.
the vagina candle, well, then you're the idiot that bought it.
Right.
And you're the one that's gonna spend $6,000 to go to a speaker thing for her for the weekend, then fucking go.
Yeah.
Like, no one's stopping you.
Mhm.
You wanna live that lifestyle and, you know, think that you can shit out every toxin for the next 20 years. Like, go do it.
Right.
I don't care.
And that's not even how they make their money. They make their money off the advertising on that site.
Yeah.
And then they have the permissions
They
to
don't
sell your
make-
data.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Oh, really? So they don't
Yeah.
make the money off of how many cashmere sweaters they sell.
Right. So they
Right.
have a New Balance sneaker ad at the
Okay,
top. And
right.
It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to buy the $800 Goop sweater, but I am going to click on the New Balance thing. So I think that's how they make their money.
Right.
And so, good for her. And that guy seemed totally unhinged. And so I think she made the right move.
But one thing that people were excited about is that she had a really cute lawyer.
Okay, he did not look that cute when I was watching it on my phone.
Okay.
Don't you? I mean, that's him. That's the same guy.
I get, yeah.
Yeah, he is cute.
He is cute.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm all for cute lawyers staying lawyers. Like when,
yeah.
what's her name? Camille
Yes.
Vasquez.
Yes.
I was so afraid that she would jump ship
Mm-hmm.
and start doing some like law show or
Right.
something. And I'm so happy to say that she is still being a lawyer.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. So he needs to stay in his lane.
Yes.
What is your recommendation to him?
Stay in the lane.
Yep.
Let this pass.
Mm-hmm.
Find a cool wife if you don't have one already.
Yep.
And just keep doing what you're doing and you'll soon be partner. And and don't get caught up in these horny bitches writing you from home.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
Because this
great.
too shall pass.
Yeah.
He looks a little like Schwartz.
Yep.
Tom
He is
Schwartz.
giving a little short, especially on the left-hand side.
Yeah, with the glasses.
I mean, Schwartz is a good-looking guy.
Yeah, he's cute.
Yeah.
Okay, I need you to tell me this juicy story that you've covered. About 60 Minutes covered it as well. But this couple is allegedly haunted by the eBay stalking scandal. What is this eBay stalking scandal? Tell the story.
Okay, I'm obsessed with this. So there's this couple. They live in Natick, Massachusetts, which is like probably the equivalent of like living in the Valley compared to Boston, right?
Okay.
LA to Boston, whatever. So they're like these sort of like at-home journalists, and she runs a newsletter, like an online newsletter blog. And it's bare bones in a lot of
Okay.
ways, right? Like it's not super, it's not like a very cool interface. And basically for the last 20 years, her and the husband have done reporting on eBay, Amazon, Etsy, and they'll say things like, Amazon's going to start charging you, more money to ship, or eBay seller fees are increasing. Like stuff that, I don't think this happens anymore. But remember when people would make tons of money off eBay? Like there would.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well, that's kind of what Jen Shaw of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City was her fake business, was she would find people and she would say, you've probably heard about these people making all this money on eBay.
Yeah.
We're going to help you set up some dumb little business of some product that you'll be able to sell.
And like your
and then
storefront.
There would never
Yeah.
be any product, and then they would be in debt, and then they would be like, we'll help you get out of debt. And it was a whole big scam, but there was no actual way of helping them launch a business.
Right.
Yeah. But you're right. There was a lot of people you'd hear, my neighbor did this on eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how Kim kind of got started.
Yeah.
She was selling like shoes and stuff.
I remember when I went to Kim's apartment when I was selling Courtney a condo.
Yeah.
And she had this nice apartment in West Hollywood, and she had a whole room where she ran the eBay.
Right.
And she was buying what she thought would be a hot, stylish item that would sell out, and then she would have it.
Right.
And that's what
And
she was
sell it,
selling.
like, at a markup.
She was,
Yeah.
she was marketing genius.
She's
back
a hustler,
then.
right?
She was ahead
Yeah.
of the game. Yeah.
So they run this blog, and in 2019, they start getting like some sort of weird things happening at their house. And at first they're kind of like, well, this is just a little strange. Like they're getting like weird phone calls and like threatening voicemails and weird DMs that are like, I'm going to kill you and stuff like that. But like, I mean, I get those DMs.
Yeah.
And so like you kind of have to chalk it up to like, oh, this is kind of weird, right? Then it goes a little bit further, okay? They get a voicemail that's like very threatening. So they call the police, and the police are kind of like, nah, they come by and they're kind of like, I don't know. But while they're there, a pig's mask gets delivered to the house, like a fake pig's mask from the movie Saw. And the police officer's like, okay, yeah, this is kind of weird. So they start to tell them like, you have to be a little bit more, careful. You got to be a little more aware. And then at the same time, they get a delivery of live roaches. They get a delivery of live spiders. They start to feel like they're being followed. Like when
I feel like this is going to be the next Netflix movie, like
Yes.
The Watcher. Okay,
yeah,
go
it
on.
really should be. And
Yeah.
so they start
That's
sending
terrifying, yeah.
porn to their neighbors with their names on it. So their neighbors are like coming over and they're like, hey, we got these DVDs.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like we got your mail
Yeah.
by accident.
Right. And it's
Okay.
porn. It's like pornos.
Yeah.
So then they start listing their house. I got to say this one, listing their house as sex parties on like a swingers website.
Oh my God.
This is like this poor couple, Ida and David Steiner. They're like 70 years old, right? So they start to get really nervous, and then they get something in the mail. They get a funeral wreath that basically says to the husband, like, we're like, sorry, here are your condolences or whatever. And the next day, he feels like he's being followed, and he gets a plate number. So he brings it to the police, and they're able to track down.
And how much time from the first threat to this? Are we talking like a year?
No, like a few weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's all like, I think this was like fall of 2019.
Okay.
So I could have that wrong though, but it's all in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And so they take the license plate number, they run it, and they trace it to a rental car of a woman who's staying at the Ritz-Carlton in Boston. And they figure out that she works for eBay. And they're like, well, that's weird. You know what I mean? Like, because we have, this eBay website, but like, why would anyone be coming after us? So what ends up happening is the police department is now like, we got to hand this over to the FBI. And it turns out that the eBay team had taken 6 of their employees to do a targeted campaign against these people because they were mad that she had done a blog post that talked about the salaries of the top of like the CEO of eBay, that he made like 127 times more than the lowest paid employee. So they didn't like that news article. And then the FBI was able to get all their emails and text messages. They were basically like, she wrote this blog post. We don't like it. I want to see ashes. She's going down. So they got these 6 people They got a printout of their whole neighborhood. They had a meeting and they're like, we're going to fly this one out to Boston to basically terrorize her. And so that's what they did over a blog post.
And so what kind of what's the
So-
consequences of doing this?
Yes. So 2 people went to prison. Yeah.
That were actually
Or no, sorry. One went to prison and one's on house arrest for a year. So one,
even though they were eBay employees.
Yeah. So
Okay.
one of them went to prison. Like, it was like a security guy. Like
Right.
eBay has like a security team.
Right.
So one went to prison, and then the woman who was
It's
actually
like worse than Scientology.
I know. The woman who was the one that was like actually physically doing the stuff, she's on like house arrest for a year or something. A bunch of other people got fired, but one guy who was really involved in it, he is now the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Silicon Valley. And he was let go for his involvement in this. And it's one of the most insane stories I've ever seen. And it's one of those things where like you've been through it and then you start to get kind of paranoid.
Right.
And you think to yourself, like, there could be no way, right? Like, these poor people, they're probably like, this is like your friend's parents. And you go out to lunch with your friend, you'd be like, what's going on with your parents? And they'd be like, oh, they're being stalked by eBay. And you'd be like, no, they're not. Right? Like, if someone told you that, would it, like, my first thing when
Well, like what? Remember, like, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. But like, when I first saw this, I was like, this can't be true.
Right. No.
And it is.
And well, I just listened to, you just reminded me of
Yeah.
something. I just listened to this podcast episode.
Yeah.
Called Something Was Wrong. Do you
Yeah.
ever listen to that?
No.
Anyway, there was this girl, Lex Fitzgerald,
Yeah.
and it was her story. And I only found her on Instagram. She has like 100,000 followers. I
Yeah.
don't think that's huge, but I guess she was like a YouTube mommy.
Mm-hmm.
And she and her husband had all these cherub-looking kids, and they were attractive, and they chronicled everything, and they had this fun life, and
Yeah.
people liked her for what she said, tips, and kind of earthy, kind of like gave birth at home, whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
For 4 years, she had people coming after her on comments and DMs to the point where they did get her number, they did call her.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to like live at different Airbnbs during the pandemic and whatnot, take
Mhm.
their kids out of school. These people would then find her and they would they called CPS on her in several different cities,
Oh my God.
which I think is the ultimate horrific thing.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to it and I'm like, I know that who's ever doing this
Yes.
was some woman that attempted to be a mommy blogger and wasn't successful.
Right.
And it was. It was 7 different people. Some were couples
Yeah.
that were trying to be YouTube families, and some and it was girls that were her fans to start.
Yep.
They had their own this thing called Discord.
Okay. Yes.
Is
Yeah.
that
Where they would like.
is that like a Reddit?
Yeah. It's like well, it's kind of like a private chat. It's almost like having like a WhatsApp, but like around like one topic.
So there was a group there. Like I have hate groups on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so of people that I had to kick out of my Facebook group because
Right.
they were like evil. And, once in a while, whatever,
You'll get like some weird
somebody will
DM.
come-
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
okay, fine.
Okay. Fine. Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, but it's always people that were originally a fan.
Okay.
And then either they
Like the
didn't like what
parasocial
you said.
relationship gets really intense, right?
what?
The parasocial relationship gets really intense. Don't you? Like
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh my God, I love this person." And then they do something that they don't like
And they can't.
and they can't like come back from it.
But I also think it's a jealousy thing of like, I attempted to do what you did
Mhm.
and I'm not good at it.
Right.
And I'm not okay seeing that you
Have your
are,
success. Yes.
and I am going to do everything I can.
Mhm.
And it was just insane. Like it's terrible. And it's like it is really hard for law enforcement to do that much, especially because it's like, it's just so vague. And
Right.
you're like, and what really is a death threat and what really is a threat to you. And thank God the CPS situations, the CPS people were qualified. But I know for a fact, because my sister is an attorney and
Yeah.
she's worked in that you could get the wrong person.
Oh my
She
God, you
she
totally
often
could.
defended
Yeah.
parents
Yes.
that wrongly had their kids taken away.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it is not something to fuck with, to joke about. Like,
Why
kid-
would you want to
your kid
destroy
could be taken
destroy
away-
someone's kid's life? The kid's
your
life.
kid could be taken away for 6 months.
Yeah.
And if you don't have money to hire another attorney to fight the
Yeah.
system, like, Do you imagine if your like 2-year-old was away from you in foster care for like 8 months because some crazy bitch on the internet was jealous of your career?
Didn't that happen on Housewives? Didn't someone send somebody to Dina's house? They did.
Dina Manzo?
Yes. When
I don't
Lexi
remember
was
that.
younger,
Ugh.
somebody, like, I don't know who it was, but somebody reported her to CPS. And you're right. Like, these people, like, and what if something looks weird to them, right? Like, what if your kid, like, these kids are little, they don't know, right? And so you never know. And so why would you want to do that to somebody? It's terrifying. That's why I like stay away from people's kids. You know what I mean? Like, how can you like do that and then sleep at night?
Yeah. And then, of course, I mean, housewives are even a bigger profile and people are even more jealous. There's so many women that are
Right.
fans that are just so jealous that these women can have this fun and successful life and they can get new teeth and they can go on Ozempic and the people just lose their mind. Like, I was okay with you when you had
Until
bad
you
teeth.
did this.
Yeah, until you, once you had good teeth and you were a size 2, I can't take it. She must be a bad mom because she went through dental surgery. Like, it's just, I mean, it's terrifying. It really is terrifying.
Don't you think
So-
people feed off of this though? Like that's what I feel like happened here is like these guys probably got like addicted to the idea of terrorizing these people too, right? Like you sort of are like, oh, what else can we do to them? Just like this mommy blogger, right?
Well, I
like
feel
these
bad
people,
that these people were actual eBay employees and they had to go to prison for it. I mean, that should be a whole thing. Like, granted, you have some free will, but when
Right.
it's your job and you want to keep your job, and this person ahead of you is like, you're the best.
Mhm.
I mean,
It's all the lower level people who
that's so
got in
to
tons
me,
of
that's
trouble.
so sad. That's
I
like
know.
they're desperate.
Yeah.
Like, that's awful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't
So
it
do they
interesting?
still write their blog?
They do. They're like, and you know what? You got to give them credit. It's like still, you should see their lawyer. Their lawyer
Yeah.
is exactly who you would want to have as your lawyer. She is like she's from Boston. Her name's Rosemary Scapaccio. Okay. And she's got like this bare bones website and she's on the news the other night and she's just like, they got more death threats than you could imagine. I'm like, this is the lady you would want. You know what like when you just see somebody, it's like this.
But I mean, so hopefully they're suing eBay, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And
Yeah,
they
okay.
say there's so much more that like is still under the investigation that they can't even share yet. But I will say like the former prosecutor
Yeah.
for Massachusetts was like, well, they just said death threats. They didn't, but like, don't you feel it's different? Like it's one thing to DM somebody and be like, I get the Taylor Swift fans, even though I like Taylor Swift, it'll be like, I hope you get murdered or whatever. But it's so different to like go to someone's house and like get them a funeral
I
wreath,
totally agree.
right?
And I do think, if you really have a death threat, yeah, like I would screen grab it or whatever. But I think the first thing you do is you delete and block.
Right.
Delete, block,
Right.
because it's just like, come on. But I understand in the case of this girl I was talking about, the Lex
Yeah.
Fitzgerald or whatever, when it goes on really long or when something then actually your phone rings or actually someone's at your door or a mail thing,
Mm-hmm.
yes, that is,
That
that
should
is
be taken
disturbing.
seriously.
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah.
it's a juicy story.
I did have something happen at my hotel room. So like the second day,
This just
yeah,
on this
the
trip.
second day I was there,
Yeah.
I saw this little envelope that said like Ms. McDonald, and in it was like a little note. And it was just like, I kind of broken English, but written pretty well.
Mhm.
And just like, I'm a big fan.
Mhm.
I like award shows. But I'm
Huh.
like, it tells me like they didn't really know who I was, but someone said like that girl's a celebrity or something.
Yeah.
And then I take care of my father and it's financially draining. So I guess they were saying, leave me a big tip or something.
I see.
But it was kind of weird that it was an envelope and it was like right by my bed on like day 2.
Do you think it was probably somebody who was like doing housekeeping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wasn't going to tell anybody. I wasn't going to tell the hotel because
Yeah.
I'm like, who cares? But
Right.
and then I was like, I don't know if I should be super flattered that anyone knows who I am. Like,
You're like,
I did leave a nice
of course
tip,
you
but
leave
I
a
was
nice
like,
tip, but you're like,
yeah, but I was like, okay. But I was like, like you are a little bit like the watcher. Like, okay. Like,
right.
yeah.
How do you like, especially like, it's kind of like, how do you know that? Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Well, that was pretty juicy. Okay. So, oh, no, wait. I want to ask you one more thing.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about eBay.
Yeah.
When I even touched on this conspiracy theory about the Wayfair.
Oh, yeah.
the Wayfair thing. But then when it popped up recently,
Again?
like I came across somebody's thing.
Somebody's talking about it again.
And I'm like, the reason people believed it was pretty insane. I mean, it was pretty undeniable. It was pretty weird.
Right.
Did we ever figure out? And for those that don't know, people posted videos of them looking for like an armoire that on Wayfair
Right.
that was like you could get for $600 or less somewhere, and it was like $12,000. And they believed that it really was code for go to this next site, and then you'll be involved in this dark web of trafficking kids.
Right.
That's where. But did Wayfair ever like say, or was it that Wayfair was innocent and somebody created this stuff? What do you know?
Yes,
what
I
happened?
remember what happened. So
Okay.
what Wayfair said is, what we do is when an item sells out, we just price it really, really high so it won't come up on your searches. Like, because a lot of times people get to Wayfair not because they're like Wayfair.com. They get to it because they're like, I want an armoire for under $500, right?
Okay.
So they were like, so we just price everything really high. And sometimes like only one color will sell out and we don't want to take it off the website or whatever. That's what they said. But I do think, I mean, I online shop, you online shop.
Yeah.
Like things are just sold out. Like, why wouldn't you just put sold out, right?
I still think it's weird. And I don't know if like Wayfair had anything to do with it or something weird happened.
Something did weird happen. I don't think there was like I don't think it was bringing you to like children
or they were
trafficking.
framing Wayfair. I don't know.
Yes, but it is very strange.
But it was weird.
It was
and
very
you can't
weird.
be mad at people for seeing this and being like, what the fuck? Because it was extremely compelling.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, yeah, this is weird.
Yeah.
You
I don't know
know
why you wouldn't just take it down. And I don't. Also, too, like, people are unhinged. So if they're like, I really want, like, what if Britney saw that and she's like, that's the armoire I want? Like,
I just saw in my group, which is normal people, that they went and they were looking for something. They typed in something and then someone else did it. And they're like, this is absolutely true. And it was on Amazon. I'll show it to you after. I didn't put it in the slideshow. And it's a photo of a little girl. Her skirt is up and her underwear is switched to the side. And it was like on Amazon.
There's some weird stuff going on
So
with
there
Amazon.
is some weird stuff, and that someone's able to hack in there, or do something, or give a code to somebody. And so then that made me like in the middle of the night go on a search of like the craziest made for TV movie I've ever seen.
What is it?
Fallen Angel.
What's it about?
So I started to think about it in my head and I couldn't remember the actress.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I swear to God, I saw this movie when I was like 8 and it left such an impression on me. And I found it and I saw what it was about. And it's about this girl. It's in the late 70s.
Yeah.
It was a made for TV movie. This girl, her dad dies, her mom's dating somebody else. And this is before an internet or anything. And this guy is working with this other guy to produce child pornography like in magazines. Because that's how you had to do it back then.
Right.
And so then he lures this girl he grooms her and everything. She starts taking photos with like another young boy who's obviously experienced with it.
Yeah.
And this whole thing. And then the mom finds out and she runs away and then she becomes kind of like promiscuous. And I could not believe, like I watched that.
I know.
At,
How old were you when you watched this?
First I had no supervision.
I was
going to
say, what was
going
on after school that like where your parents were both working, right?
But also I could stay up as late as I watched and I would watch made for TV movies from 8 until 10 p.m. all the time. Or that's when they were. And I remember my friend goes, I remember you came to school in 3rd grade and we were like,
you're telling everybody?
Did you watch The Mistress last night? Like, I just was like, but I remember this. And I was just like because I'm going to watch Brooke Shields'
the documentary
on Hulu, which just comes out, I think, tonight or and I'm going to discuss that on Thursday's show. But that I was like, so I was kind of like, was this made for TV movie meant to expose what's going on, or was it like a slight media grooming?
Well, when did that Brooke Shields movie come out? Because like
around the same time.
So I feel like
around
they were probably like looking at it and saying, "Oh, this is selling." Like, and so why don't we try this? Because it's
even though it was a dark situation.
Yeah.
And But yeah, it was like, I mean, I can't believe, and I know my Juicy Scoopers are going to go, I fucking remember that movie,
Yeah,
Fallen
yeah, yeah.
Angel. And I did take a photo of us. We'll put it in the thing because it's like, it was crazy.
Like the IMDb.
Yes, I read the whole thing. I was like remembering the plot. I remembering the scene by her by the lake. I remember the photography. And I remember thinking, this could happen to me
Oh, well,
because
that's
I
the
was
thing.
so desperate to like want to be an actress
Yeah.
and stuff. And this guy comes up to her and he's like, you look like Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah.
Which she clearly didn't. Like
Yeah.
she was just an average looking girl. But she was only like 12.
Right.
And I was, and then he's like, just come on, you look sexy. Take this off. And I was like, oh my God, I could totally see how like you could get sucked into this
Totally.
because, and anyway, so let's move on. Yeah, I've said this before, a lot of TV, since I didn't have any restrictions on what TV I watched, a lot of TV kept me on the straight and narrow. So whether it was, I
1000%.
didn't get sucked into child porn or any porn,
Yeah.
though I loved any movie about it.
Yeah.
Also, after school specials,
Mhm.
which is before your time, kept me from getting pregnant,
Mhm.
doing drugs, trying angel dust,
Yes.
being a runaway.
Did you read Go Ask Alice?
Of
Yeah.
course.
I was like, if I even smoke a cigarette, I'm going to end up dead. Like,
And I think there needs to be more actual movies to watch, not just a sad article or a
Mhm.
1-minute TikTok. I've said this forever.
Yeah.
There should be people making those type of compelling movies that they actually make required viewing.
yeah.
Like when they have a movie day because the
Right.
teacher's lazy or it's
Right,
raining or
right.
whatever, like why not have actual stuff like we had that will make people go, wow, this person tried this and there was fentanyl in it, and like actually make a movie about it.
Right.
Because you could tell your kids till you're blue in the face, but if they actually see it
See it. Yeah.
dramatically with
Mhm.
actors that look like them
Mhm.
and are great actors and everything, it could make a huge difference in like why you don't want to try this stuff ever.
Right. And Euphoria just makes it look cool.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Or here's a story I just
Yeah.
saw, which is really sad. And
Yeah.
but interesting too. This kid, he was like 18
yeah.
and he playing video games or
Mm.
whatever. And I guess somehow whoever he was friends with on the video game or something, then he thought it was a girl and she DM'd him and she was presented herself
Yes.
as like a
Like a
volleyball
North
player.
Carolina, like volleyball player.
with
Yeah.
photos and stuff.
Yeah.
So they start flirting on
Yeah.
DM and they start, I guess, getting each other's number and texting nudes.
Mm-hmm.
And then this girl, quote unquote girl, is like, I'm going to expose that you sent me these nudes and all this stuff unless you give me $350. And the kid didn't have a lot, so he gave like $50.
Yeah.
And then the threats kept coming and to the point where he, unalived himself. And I immediately like told Brandon the story, and Brandon goes, I will never send a nude or do a nude. He's like, because you don't know who anybody is or where it'll end up. He goes, even to my wife. He goes, even to my wife one day, I'm not going to do that, Mom. And I'm like, good. I literally.
But that's because you guys have these conversations at home, right?
Yeah.
Like and also too, like as sad as it is, if this happened to one of your kids, I think they both know. And I know like everyone says this. I think they know they could come to you and say like, hey, Mom, like.
Well, what I said to him was, I'm like, listen, I'm telling you, there's nothing. There's no financial thing. There's nothing that I'll ever feel like we can't fix.
Right.
But I could see how a kid, and they said it's
right.
mostly boys,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
will be like, oh my God, I don't see. Also, that's a really vulnerable age for men.
Yep.
Is like 15 to 18
Yep.
of where they feel like I'm never going to get out of this. I
Right.
don't know how to explain it. I'm
Mhm.
never going to get out of it. And I said the only thing that I can relate this to, and again, this is before your time, but my Juicy Scoopers will know. There was this thing that was called like, I forgot it, but a Columbia House Records.
And
it
yeah,
would-
you could get the albums.
you could get the albums.
Yeah.
And it's like in the back of a magazine.
Yeah.
And it's like for $1.
Yeah, you get like 14 albums.
You get 14 like, well, at my day it was cassette tapes.
Okay.
So you fill out all the ones you
Yeah.
want, Madonna, whatever.
Mhm.
And I literally sent $1 in the mail and
Yeah.
they all came. I'm like, this is amazing. And then the next thing, another bunch comes.
It's like Fabletics.
And then
Right?
and then this bill came. And it was like $56 and $136. And the anxiety I had, I was 11. And I remember
It's like 1970s, so that's a lot more money too,
yes.
right?
And I remember I knocked on my dad's little office door in our house, bawling, coming clean. Like we're going to lose the house. Like, I don't know what is going to happen. And he was just like, okay, I understand. He was so sweet about it. He's like, don't ever like do this without talking to us. And, and he's like, look, and he just wrote a check out. He mailed it. He's like, we don't want any more. Like, but I mean, I let it go on because I was too scared to
Right,
admit.
like you stick them under
I
your
kind of
pillow.
felt like
You're like,
I knew I did something wrong.
Yes.
I know I wasn't like, now people say, oh, my kid took my phone and ordered $3,000 worth of gummy bears or whatever. Like
right.
that type of stuff happens. But kids need to know like that these scams are happening all the time. And they're literally going after young men, even more than girls.
Yeah, because girls know now. Like, I think we're teaching young women, like, hey, you got to be really careful, right? And and they're used to that. But I think with boys, like, they get, oh my God, this like hot girl from like UNC is DMing me.
Yeah,
like,
I think Brenda was also like, I don't think my dick is that bad, but I won't send it anyway. And I'm like, God, what? Like, but the girl, like, an inexperienced guy doesn't know, and if a girl is like, it looks weird and I'm going to let the world know, he might be like, oh my God, is like, done. It's so sad. Yeah. It's so sad. Oh, okay. So awful. Getting back to Ashton Kutcher and Mila said they refuse to leave their kids their $220 million inheritance, which as right now it's 220. I can't imagine what it'll be. Right. God willing, they live till they're old grandparents.
Sure.
What do you think about this? Because you do a lot on your page on TikTok and Instagram about generational wealth and the extreme wealthy people, and I find it fascinating. So what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, what are they saying? Are they going to donate it?
Yes,
okay. All right.
It.
Well, that's nice. So they're kind of following the like Bill and Melinda Gates thing, right? And so when that came out, when Bill and Melinda Gates were like, we're not leaving our kids, all of our money, I think a lot of people were like up in arms, and I'm sure people feel that way about this. But these kids are so privileged.
So set.
Like, they're so set. It doesn't matter what they want to do, okay? If they want to be an actor, they can be an actor. If they want to go to college, they can go to college. Everything will be paid for. That doesn't mean, I think saying this does not mean that mom and dad aren't going to buy your house, that mom and dad aren't going to get you, a meeting with Uncle Lorne. Like, they can do whatever they want to do. So they're going to be fine. And so this makes these two look really good, right?
I 100%
This is
agree.
A total PR move.
100%.
And I guarantee you that they have set up separate financial things for the kids. I bet the kids have stocks. I bet they have trusts. So it's like, oh, this money is over here.
Right.
And like, okay, so maybe I'm only going to get like 10 million when I turn 25. But you have all the connections in the world, okay? Like, this isn't like regular people whose parents are like, you know what? Not going to leave you the $400,000 house when I die, like, and you're just like a regular person.
Right.
So
exactly.
I think it's total PR.
Exactly. If your parents had one house that you grew up in, and then you were like, well, when mom and dad die, at least we'll each get about 60 grand split between the four of us.
Right.
That's like an average person. And there's a lot of people that don't even have that.
Right.
Their parents lived in an apartment their whole life.
Sure.
Maybe they're on subsidized housing, whatever. They'll never have that.
Right.
And that, and we were actually talking about the generational wealth, which is like been talked about so much, and I didn't really understand it. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, there's people that came from the Mayflower that have been established, and you're right.
Right.
Those kids, they're going to have something that no normal person can think about. But then there's a couple more generations, and then there's people that are first generation, but so wealthy, so already a billionaire, and that's a whole different situation. And I think it's more about, if your parents can help you with the down payment, no matter where you live, that's privilege.
And
And then there's levels of that.
Totally.
And because there's so many people that do not have that.
Right.
And that wouldn't ask, wouldn't even think about it.
And never an option. So for me, when I see this, I'm just like, this is PR. I remember when Melinda Gates, the Bill Gates' daughter, got married, right?
Yeah.
And she had this like insane wedding, absolutely gorgeous. And, I think somebody was talking about the fact like, well, she's not inheriting any of the money. I'm like, her wedding alone, right? Like, these are the things that occasionally sometimes people call on their parents to help them with. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter for her at all. And like she goes to med school, right? Like, and so yeah, maybe she's not going to be a billionaire, but she's going to be running in all these circles. It's
Right.
like,
She
so
can,
it doesn't
she can charter
matter.
a jet
Right.
anytime she wants.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great PR move. And they just like, didn't he just sell, like he owned a cell phone company or something?
I mean, he was one of the first people on Twitter. So yeah, he was always in the tech world. He's really smart with his business opportunities and
Right.
stuff.
So they probably don't want people.
And speaking of,
Yeah.
he's someone that needs to leave acting forever.
Oh, yeah.
Because he just came back and watched and was in that Reese Witherspoon movie.
Right. And it was like painful.
It was so
Yeah.
bad. Just be gorgeous and rich.
Yeah.
We don't need to
That's
see
okay.
any more romantic comedies from you.
Totally.
Like, no.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Sometimes
Gwyneth,
I allow people.
Gwyneth,
Yeah,
come
we
on
want her back. Yes. And Mila
No.
can stay.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
But like, no, don't need to see him act ever again.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah. I just saw another horrible movie he was in.
Well,
I
what?
like to call them the dry bar movies. They're movies that they
Oh, yeah,
play
yeah,
at dry
those.
bar. It was one with Cameron Diaz. And it was like they got married in Vegas for no reason. I don't know. I was
'Cause she
so
doesn't act
bad.
anymore, right?
She doesn't act anymore. I'd like to see her come back as like, some rich mom. But I think she was just like, I'm good. I don't know. A lot of
Okay,
people are
but
just over it.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah?
Doesn't it not pay what it used to pay? That's what I
Yes.
hear.
Yes, it does not pay what it used to pay. And, and the roles dry up for
Sure.
their ages. So she might have been like, look, she might have been really smart about it and
Mhm.
didn't get weird about it and was
Mhm.
like, that's what I'm going to have my kids later in life. And
Yep.
I had this 15 years of being in all the dry bar movies. And now I'm like, good. I don't
Right.
need anyone to freak out about my face
Mhm.
the way they are freaking about Justine Bateman's
Oh my God.
face. Like, I don't need to do it.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
like, I don't know that I want to, like, fix my face like that.
Right.
And I don't want anyone to hear, like,
Yeah, and you really like in a way I can't blame them. Like I saw Hilary Swank, she has that TV show, right? Like one of those, she's got like a procedural or something, right? And I'm like, it was
What do you mean a procedural? Like
oh,
a series?
Yeah,
Oh,
she's got like a
okay,
series on
okay.
like network TV.
Yeah.
And so I feel like they were probably like, you could do this or you could do a skincare line. Like which do you want to do?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the skincare line probably takes a lot less time. And I'm not saying, I'm the first
It
one.
takes a lot less time. You just show up
Right?
and go, okay, this is the thing. They're not out there, extracting the juice from the melon like Cindy Crawford obviously did
Yeah.
15 years ago, 20 years ago when she started hers. Remember that?
Her dermatologist.
The French,
Oh my God,
French
yeah.
melon.
Like I'd be watching it on, it would be an infomercial.
Yeah,
You'd be
well,
like,
let's talk
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
wait, I'm going
Okay.
to skip over this
Okay,
and
yeah,
go right to, do you guys know that Brad Pitt has a skincare line? I don't think a lot of people know. You've been trying to let us know.
I've been trying to let people know, and I feel like people don't want to talk about it. And I will tell you, I was diving deeper on this yesterday before I got distracted by the eBay story. And
By
I
the
have
way,
yeah.
I want to say, I have this all on my YouTube. Please
Yeah.
subscribe with the photos. That's not a great photo
No, it's
of
not.
skincare. It's like bad shadowing.
Yep.
He looks wrinkled.
Mhm.
Like I would have done like a golden hour where you see like a manly face and it's really kind of glowing.
Mhm.
Why? Again, lazy. Fucking lazy. He
No,
didn't
but
even want to do a photo shoot.
You know what it is?
What?
Where does he look like he is to you? He looks like he's in a
Mexico?
winery.
Oh, winery. Okay. So he
'Cause
just
this is all part of the bigger plan.
of the Mirabelle
yeah.
winery?
Yeah.
What is it? Tell me everything.
Because this thing is done in partnership with all the people that he owns the Mirabelle with, right? It's the same family. So what
Oh.
he's trying to do is he's trying to put this out there
Yeah.
while distracting you that he's got this crazy lawsuit stuff going on with Angelina Jolie
Okay.
over the winery. So you'll notice that a lot of these photos, once you look at them, you're like, oh, I guess that could look like Napa Valley. Like, I mean, because I don't know what they look like,
Yeah.
in Europe or whatever. So that I think is part of it, is to make it sort of simultaneously plug both the wine and the skincare.
Is it skincare for just aging men? What is it?
It's genderless. Which I'm
Okay.
like, okay, so's Dermalogica. Like a lot of them are not,
Yeah.
super, gender branded. And, I think in the beginning when they came out, they were making it all about like, we use these grapes and they come from our winery. And then they completely redid the website and they made it all like, it's not another celebrity beauty brand. And it's just like, interesting. I think they leaned into that narrative of, we're doing this differently. And it's all to rehab his image. Which
Wow.
I think it's working.
Is he dating anyone that you know about?
Not that I know of. People are saying he's dating someone, but I think it's
According to some people,
Yeah.
Sun being one of them, Northwest will soon become the Kardashian family's next big star with her own businesses and movie roles. And there was talk that she'll be coming out with a skincare line because she uses her mom's and she does the whole TikTok
Right.
squirting it on her face.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, never since TikTok did I ever think to squirt my serum right on my face. I've always put it
on your hand. I don't feel like it's very sanitary. Is
To
it
put it
just
on
an
your
aesthetic?
hands? Is that
No,
why?
I put it on my hands.
And then I rub it on.
Right, because I wash my hands first.
Yeah.
I think it's better than
Like
putting
I
the
first
dropper
wash
on
my
your face.
which washes my hands. And then I do it. But I think it's like people do that. And I'm like, what 9-year-old needs a fucking aging serum?
Like, I think my mom would have
If
been happy
she-
if I was just using Clearasil then.
If she starts a skincare line, whether she does it now
Mhm.
or at 13,
Yeah.
anybody that buys this for their kid is a fucking idiot. Done.
Yeah.
Sorry. No.
I think
No.
it is coming. I do think it's coming.
If your kid
because-
has some, skin issues
Yeah.
and you can't afford going to a real dermatologist, Neutrogena
Right.
has been around forever.
Yep.
And these other places, go to your
CeraVe,
Target.
yeah.
They've been around forever. Teach your kid habits. Like, we
Mhm.
do not need this.
No.
But I don't even know if it's true, but it probably is.
Well, I remember seeing there were trademarks for like a home line before it even came out, before her home line came out. And I was like, she's going to do a home line or
Kim?
some type of combo with North.
And you were obsessed with the concrete waste
I'm
basket.
still obsessed with them.
Can you still buy that?
You can. You can.
How much does it cost to ship a piece of
20
concrete
you
like
know
that?
what? That's the crazy thing. The pricing is really good. It's only $20. The shipping is $20, which is actually crazy.
To get the
to get-
concrete.
to get the concrete waste bin. But I mean, that just kind of gave her skincare like a little boost. I think she probably knows people are going to make fun of it. And then,
I don't think she knows.
really, you don't think she
No,
knows?
No.
You don't think people knew that they were going to make fun of it when she was like putting the tissues don't
tissues?
even fit in the tissue box. Like you can't put, how like if a tissue box holder, you
Yeah.
can just throw the Kleenex box in.
Right.
Like you can't even fit it in. So you got to take all the tissues out and then put them in, which is disgusting.
But I don't think she thinks about that because that's the type of stuff that they do. I mean, that's another thing when this trend of like taking all of your food out of its cartons
yes.
and putting it in these glass cartons, like in your
Aesthetically pleasing
fridge.
Yeah. Mhm.
That is 100%. Anybody that's created glass cartons
Yeah.
for the fridge need to write a thank you note to the Jenners, Kardashians, because they created that even more than Yolanda's fridge.
Oh, I
They
agree.
created that.
They always had the like cookies on the counter underneath the like,
Yeah.
the and it, I mean, it does look
I
kinda
remember
nice.
I remember only in TV shows was I was like, oh my God, someone actually takes the orange juice carton and puts it into a glass thing.
Oh, like a pitcher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would only happen like in a family on TV.
Yeah.
Like, who
I
would-
thought
who
everyone
would do
had
that?
it from the like, did you ever have the concentrate when you were little? I
100%.
loved it. It was
Yeah.
so good. I don't know if they still make that.
And then on Saturdays, my dad would put it on a blender and make like a fake
Like
like
a
orange
daiquiri.
margarita. Yeah. We're not put as much water.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because then you get it like, it was like
Yeah, yeah.
basically all like high fructose corn syrup. It was so good though.
Okay, do you know about this latest juice? This
A
is
little
from
bit.
All About the Real Housewives Instagram. But this is from a Reddit thing. It's an actual lawsuit.
Mhm.
It's a sexual harassment lawsuit against Jason Cabo, who's been married to Pandora, Lisa Vanderpump's daughter, since 2011. It is just a lawsuit. Doesn't mean it's true.
Of course.
Doesn't mean it'll go anywhere. Doesn't mean that it, but it is being talked about on all the blogs and everything. So I just thought I would bring it up. And you said you read about it.
I did read it. And I
Okay.
did read the actual, because it's against a bunch of different people.
Within the Rosé company, or what is it?
I think that it's different people who work for different wine companies.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it looked like it was like, okay, this guy, and then he works for X wine company. And then
Oh,
this Jason guy,
okay.
and he works for like, it's like Palm Wines or something. It has
Okay.
like, it's a conglomerate. And so I did read through it, and then I read the allegations that were against him.
Mm.
And so there were like 2 times, I think, where he was out to dinner with this woman and he asked her to come back to his
Right.
hotel room.
And some comment of like, I'm a celebrity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was another time. And then there was, when I was reading this, did you get the impression that, she did say that they had romance? Because
I
then
didn't think it did.
I thought it did.
You did?
I thought
Okay.
it was like, and then we had dinner again, and then this happened every time. And I'm like, well, did you go back to the hotel room? Are you
You're
just
right. It
saying
said there
he's
were more
harassing you to
incidents.
go?
Yeah. I couldn't tell from that. What if like, okay, but then some people were saying, oh, he's had like, there's allegations of like multiple affairs. And then I didn't find anything about that, but I
Yeah.
didn't totally exhaust my search. But I didn't
Right.
feel like I read that in like that he had a ongoing relationship with her in this article or
I mean,
in this
I
case,
feel like
yeah.
these things, happened.
Mm-hmm.
And if it, and she has every right to bring
Of
it
course.
forward and let them figure it out and
Yeah.
do depositions and all this. But it could also not be true.
Right.
Or it could be that, I don't know. But I do think it's really interesting because I was talking to my friend who works in HR
Mhm.
for a corporation, several different corporations.
Mhm.
And I'm like, so let me just get this straight, what this is like as the HR person of a big company.
Yeah.
I'm like, so two people start to date in the company. They literally say the minute
Mm-hmm.
you start dating, unless you are the exact same time of being there, you're hired the same day, you have the exact same title, and you make the exact same money, is the only way that you can have sex and date without the underling saying at some point, I can sue the company. I was harassed.
So is that why you think TJ Robach and Amy Holmes got canned?
Well, I think for him, he did have two
Right.
affairs where he would be the superior person. And because they were together, it's not like she was saying he was the
Right.
superior,
Yeah.
she was the superior. But it's just a mess. I mean, you cannot
power
fuck at
dynamic
work.
thing.
Like you just cannot. And if you do, and if you're let's just say the guy who is in the superior position,
Yeah.
and you're dating this girl, like the two of you would have to go straight to the PR person and
Mhm.
like literally sign a consent thing saying like, I am willingly dating this guy that's slightly superior to me. Because even if it's out and even if everybody is like, oh yeah, they're a couple,
Yeah.
it's fine. If then let's say they break up
Right.
and the girl is like hurt,
Oh,
like a lot of girls
right.
do.
Yeah, sure.
And then she can't do her job and she can
Mhm.
immediately sue and be like, I was groomed, I was this, I was that.
pressured. Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
the company is like, look, we're going to have to pay out this girl no matter what.
Right.
So I literally said to my friend, I go, so what do you do? She's like, I basically say, unless you think you're going to get married, if you like this job, I would not date this person. Like literally.
It's just not worth it.
It's just
Go find another job.
But like, unless you're like really are going to marry them.
yeah.
Like, and I feel that's kind of sad because a lot of people do fall in love at work.
They do.
But like, unless you both get married.
Right.
I even think even if you got divorced,
Yeah.
maybe you could still come back and be like, I didn't even want to marry this guy. He was
Right.
my manager. I mean, I don't even know how many things you could say. Like, I feel like every girl, whether it's Raquel from can say, I was groomed, I was coerced,
Sure.
I had
There
to
was a
keep
power
my job,
dynamic.
I
Right.
had to.
Of course.
And I'm not like hating women. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, at a certain point, come on, and I'm like, and I also feel like, whether it's conscious or not, I think there's a lot of people that if they have a company with 20 people working in
Mhm.
sales, and most of them are guys,
Mhm.
former frat guys,
Mhm.
but they're
Totally.
sales.
Yep.
Here walks in this powerhouse girl. She wants the job. She's smart.
Yeah.
She's a great interview.
Yeah.
I believe that there are certain people that will probably not hire that attractive girl now because they're like, I can't trust these 12 guys
Mhm.
that aren't going to
There's like a bias.
Yeah,
right?
either have
Yeah.
romance with her,
Mhm.
hit on her, go to
Right.
drinks after.
Yeah.
There's a sales meeting in San
Mhm.
Francisco that's drinking with doctors. We're
Right.
selling medical supplies. Like, I really think in
Right.
all of this, it's so good that it's out there, but sadly, come after me, people. Sadly, I think some pretty smart girls are going to lose out a little bit.
I get you. No, I see what you're saying.
Like, because it's like, oh my God, I can't.
Well, and also too, like, it's always the woman who ends up like taking the fall at the end of the day, right? And so I don't know. I
mean, I always say Ghislaine Maxwell is the only one in prison. She's a piece of shit, but she's the only one.
That's true.
All these women who were sex trafficked by all these men in the
right.
Epstein world. We
Yeah.
don't know one of them.
Right.
We don't have one name.
Mhm.
Sure. Right.
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 And the other one's dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but you're like me. Like, we never got to go on the apps.
Right.
And don't you feel like I'm like, why would you want to date somebody at work? Just go on the apps. Like, I'm so jealous that I never got to go on the apps.
I am and I'm not. At first
Okay.
I was jealous.
Okay.
And now I think that there is such a sad, dark side to it that
Oh,
I
yeah.
predict
Yeah.
a new movement is going to be happening.
What's it going to be?
It's going to be bringing back like matchmakers and like clubs, social clubs that you join to actually meet people in person
Okay.
and stuff like that.
Okay. Because the
Because
apps have
it's
just gotten
Also it's just like not healthy for people's self-esteem.
Oh, no, not at
And
all.
I think, it's healthy for a small amount of health, because they said, I saw something where like an average guy has to swipe like 60 times. He gets that many rejections on the site. If he's average looking and not rich of girls rejecting
to get
him.
like somebody to like hit match
Yeah.
or whatever.
And that's why like so many men are like fucked up and sad.
Because they're not getting what they want out of online
Because if
dating.
the app was
Yeah.
gone and they just like had to like meet somebody
Mhm.
at work without being accused of sexual harassment, or like in an actual place,
Yeah.
someone might fall in love with them
Oh,
because
yeah,
they're
it's
not
like the
going. They're
personality,
not
yeah.
going to go on their phone later and be like, "But wait, this guy's coming
Like-
to town tomorrow. He might be better than that guy I met at the Piggly Wiggly." Like, there's just like it's like
Totally.
weird.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. I think it's just like a FOMO thing where I'm like, and I also think I would have been really good at it. Like, don't you think you would have been really good at the apps?
I think yes, but then I think of that same thing. I think it's exactly what Carol said about Ramona one of the last seasons. She's
I love
like,
Carol.
Carol's the best. Carol was like, I think it was really fun for Ramona the first year being divorced.
Mhm.
The second year, not as fun.
You're right. Like
I
the
think
first 3 months on the apps, you would. I
Yeah.
feel like, but like you'd be. I just remember how much
You'd be
fun
like
it
a
was
kid
to
in a
date.
candy
Like,
store.
yeah,
Like it was just be like, "Woo!"
yeah,
And then people say that they get the repeats.
yeah.
And then they're like, or they talk to their friend and they're like, "Oh, that guy matched with me too." And then you're like, I
Right.
thought I was special. and-
Right. It gets competitive.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
It's hard. Okay, I want to talk about this. One of your TikToks that you did about this mega church
Mhm.
that is being accused of forcing employees to give 10% of their pay in, what do they call these things? Tithe?
Tithe.
It's
Yeah.
like 10%.
Yeah.
Like Mormon church asked you to do it but this is actual, you work there? Explain.
Yeah, so these people in this lawsuit are saying we worked for this church. It's called Church Home. And it's, one of those mega churches like a Hillsong or
Yeah.
whatever. So anyway, they say I worked there and I was forced to give 10% of my paycheck back to the church. So I think it just automatically deducted.
Wow.
And if you didn't do that, you could get fired,
Mm.
you could get in trouble, you could get written up.
And so they're suing, or what are they
So
doing?
yeah, so there's one there. I think there's multiple employees who are actually suing, but there's one woman who's really come forward. But I think this is really common. I worked at a nonprofit,
Yeah.
and you were really pushed to donate.
How would they push you to do it?
So it would kick off like there was like a campaign,
Okay.
and they'd be like, we strive for 100% participation, and like once a week you would get an email and it'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm just gonna make this up. If there's 200 employees, 150 of you have given. Okay. And then as weeks went by, it would get smaller and smaller. And you could also get you would get like a sticker that said, I donated, and you would wear it on your badge.
Now, how much were you expected to donate?
Any amount. Like
So-
you could donate $5. You could. Okay. And like I think that's not true of all places. I think there is
Right.
like a minimum. But as it got lower and lower, I'm going to call it the CEO,
Yeah.
would call people into his office and be like, why haven't you donated? And I think given that it was like a really big organization.
They wanted to say they had 100%, I guess.
Yeah. And I also think like when it's not like, well, Annie, you haven't donated. It would be so nice. There's only 3 of us, right? Like it's like in a place with like thousands of employees.
Right.
like to call someone into your office and you're the CEO.
Yeah, no, it's horrible.
That's a huge
No,
power dynamic.
yeah, no,
right?
that's
Like, I mean, it's always a power
and then
dynamic.
God forbid you start dating them. No, just
Right.
kidding. Yeah.
But like, I don't know that that's okay. And so I actually had a job once where you had to donate. And this was when I was in my really early 20s. And like, I didn't have two dimes to
Yeah.
rub together.
Yeah.
There was a woman who would do my donation for me.
Oh,
I know. Isn't that really nice?
that is nice.
So I wouldn't get in trouble.
My story is when I was at Chelsea lately,
Mhm.
Barack Obama was running.
Yeah.
And Michelle Obama was doing some event. I
Sure.
can't remember if it was the second time around or if it was before. I think he was already the president, and so he was running again.
Sure.
And Michelle Obama was going to some fancy dinner at some rich person's house in Brentwood.
Mhm.
And it came to our attention, Chelsea wants the writers to go.
Okay.
And it's like $2,500 for one table, 5,000, and then like 10,000.
Yeah.
But we were going to be at the $2,500 table. And I was just like, no. Like,
Yeah.
no. And
It's
everyone's
not
like,
like you were going as like a guest of E, right? Like, it's not like,
no,
oh, E is
we
buying
have
the
to,
table.
no, we
right?
have to pay. And I just went right to her.
Yeah.
And I said, like, I would love to go. I've never been to something like this. I'm
Mhm.
super curious. But I literally said, I go, $2,500 is half of the year of my private Catholic school. So I am not going to do
Right.
this. And she goes, okay. And it was fine.
Right.
But I was bummed to miss the night.
Of
Like, I
course.
love doing stuff. Like,
Right.
and
Oh my
I
God, who
wasn't-
doesn't want to get dressed up, go to
And
like have
see
a,
what this is. I was
chicken
curious.
dinner,
Yeah.
and like, of course, it's gonna be
I
fun. You're
wasn't
gonna
like
see people.
I wasn't like politically against it. I just
No.
was like, no. So they go.
Yeah.
And I remember like certain of them that were super like liberal but they still didn't want to pay the $2,500. But
That's
they
a
were like,
lot.
we better go because
Yeah.
we want to stay in the good graces of everybody.
Right.
So they go and they're at like the back room.
Oh,
like,
of course you're in
I don't
the
know if
worst
they're, like
table,
in a
'cause it's, like,
children's
lower
room. I don't know
spot.
what.
Yeah, I used to seat these events. You put those people in the way back. It's awful, but it's true.
And Michelle,
Yeah.
where you can get photos with Michelle and talk to Michelle, is in this other room.
Oh yeah.
And that's where Chelsea is.
Yeah.
And so they're like, I go, so how was the event? Like, what'd you wear? And they're like, oh my God, Chelsea didn't even see us. I don't even think that she knew that we went. And so then when we did After Lately, which was this show that we did that was kind of like a curb, and we
Oh,
would
yeah,
take
yeah,
all these
sure.
incidences
It was fun.
and then like rewrite them.
Yeah.
So we did a whole episode
Mhm.
about going to an event that Chelsea wanted us to go to and hoping to be seen. And I think in the scripted version, I did go,
Yeah.
but like and I'm wearing this gold dress and
Yeah.
I'm like running, trying to make sure that she sees me, that I get credit for going.
Yeah.
But that was the closest I came to anything like that.
Yeah.
But no, she wasn't going to make me, but I was like, oh, that there is that kind of feeling of like, oh, you're not going to do this, especially when you want to be in the good graces of your bosses
course.
and look like, so
Right. And
yeah.
in a competitive world like that, right?
Right.
But the other thing too is like, it's one thing for someone to say, hey, do you want to come to the like, baby to baby gala? All the money goes towards like,
Yeah.
helping moms, under-resourced moms get like strollers, right?
Right.
That's one thing. It's another thing to be like, I'm going to go to this campaign fundraiser and it helps pay for like ads for Barack Obama. Like, and I'm
Yeah.
not like, I mean, I don't, politics
Yeah.
aside, it's just kind of like, ugh, like that's
Or like someone invites you to a charity event and they
Oh,
pay for the ticket,
1,000%.
but they're hoping that like
you're going to write a check for $100 or something.
or
right?
you're
Yeah.
going to buy the vacation.
Totally,
Or the
yeah.
auction item
Yes.
or whatever.
Right.
But yeah. So amazing. Okay, wait. I want to go back to just the Meghan Markle stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so Meghan Markle is this speaking of which, Meghan Markle's foundation paid Michelle Obama's ex-press PR person
Mhm.
nearly 110 from out of her nonprofit, the Archewell thing, which I think that girl deserves the 110
Of
because we've
course.
heard a lot about it.
Yeah.
But they also said that they only worked 1 hour a week on Archewell Foundation.
Okay.
So, I don't know. What do you think of her? Tell me what you think. Everyone knows what I think.
I mean, I like her. I like things about her. I like him. I think he's great.
Okay.
And I think that it's not an easy situation that she's in, right? Like
Right.
she's never going to win either
Right.
way. But I do think, like, some of the stuff that gets reported, like this is not that weird to
No.
me. As, like, someone who's been in the nonprofit world, I'm like, yeah, actually, that would make sense that they would say, what do they say, 1 hour a week?
I almost feel like they're being honest.
Yeah, I actually do think they're being
Yeah,
honest.
because I think a lot of people would say an exaggerated number, and I think they were being like straight up honest. Like, yeah, probably an hour, maybe.
I mean, think of all the time that they spend doing the Netflix documentary, all of their, like, that she spends doing the podcast. That's where they really, I think, spend their time.
No, I don't think they spend that much money on that much time on the podcast.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
That's
Well,
what I'm-
yeah, I mean, it's no juicy scoop.
Listen, the thing about podcast is with certain people, once you've run out of all your friends to interview
Right.
and all your own personal stories, it gets really fucking hard. And people get over it. And if the deal doesn't come again around for millions, or you are not getting the numbers or the ads, then you stop doing it because you're like,
It's a ton of work. People always say to me, like, start a podcast. I'm like, I'm not starting a podcast. Like, I've thought about it. It's not going to work for me. Like, it's just way too much work.
I mean, at least you are a knowledgeable person. If you were to do it, great. But yeah, like, you're aware of it.
Right.
But I think when big stars do it, they get them to do it because they convince them it's going to be nothing on their part. Here's the producer, here's the sound guy. You lay on the bed, we come, we plug it in, and you're there talking to your dog, and you're like, okay, and that's all it's going to be. And they're like, okay, but even after a couple months, if they're a superstar and they're getting people writing like shitty reviews, or I can listen to it anymore, I don't like you.
Yeah.
Then they're like, I can't believe, to their manager, I can't believe you made me do this shitty thing. Like,
do you think she's doing another
everyone
season?
Likes my bikini shots. Yeah. Now people aren't liking hearing me talk for an hour. Like, why did I do this?
It's a skill. Like, you have the skill, right?
Everybody.
Like, you studied it. You've done years of it. It's totally different. And I don't think, like, she's not a journalist. She's, you know, do you think she's going to have a second season of it?
If they pay her enough, yes.
Okay.
And she's not going to be doing it out of the goodness of her heart because she wasn't great at it, and she's run out of all of her stories. And, you know, we know that a lot of the stories are not true. And you and I talked about this.
Yeah.
The whole flexing, acting like this new flex of where people are pretending like they had it rougher than they did. Like, I'm like, if I was going to do that, I would be like, you guys, you know, when my dad would take us to the beach, like, we packed our own cooler.
Oh my God.
But no, we didn't. We never bought the food that was offered at the beach. We did not belong to a beach club.
Yeah.
We would go to Zuma.
Who would carry your stuff?
We all had to carry it ourselves.
Wow.
And sometimes there'd be a line to go into the Zuma.
Like a park,
to park.
Okay.
And then it would be like $6. And it would take like 35 minutes. We lived like 35 minutes from water in the valley.
So you couldn't see.
I could not see the water from my house.
But okay.
So then we'd go to the beach.
Yeah.
And like, we had to do our own umbrella. Like, I don't know if you even know what that's like.
No.
Like
I just thought, like, how does it get set up? I just thought they kind of like appeared.
Yeah, no, you have to carry it, and then you have to like dig a hole.
Okay. And then what about at the end of the day?
I mean, at the end of the day, we had to pack it all up. And then we had so much sand on our bodies that my dad would say, don't even go in the house, walk around.
So you go stay at like a hotel or something?
No, we go back, drive the 35 minutes.
Back to the house?
Yes. And then we would just have to jump in the pool. Like, in the pool. And then there was no one waiting there to like hand us a towel.
Fresh towels.
No, there was nobody waiting there to hand a towel. Like, my mom would have to bring the towels out from like our cabinet.
And you're okay now?
No, I just want people to know, like, I did not have it easy.
Yeah.
Like, I did not, like, I'm not this person. I'm not Gwyneth Paltrow. I'm not, obviously, like, we're joking. But like, that's what it's like. I feel like Megan's a little like that.
I totally agree.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you weren't handed the job. You actually had to drive to the audition. Isn't that what it is?
Okay. And also, I have to say, I didn't listen to her podcast a lot. Now people will probably come at me and be like, she didn't even listen to the podcast. I tried to listen a couple of times. And I like her in a lot of ways. But that podcast was a little painful.
Yeah, because I think she's not an authentic person. And I don't think she might have been like in her 20s when she worked at Mirabelle with Kris Franjola. I think she might have been. But I think she created this storyline. I think she was one of those people that sought out who she was going to marry. You were saying that there's stuff that she's written about how much she struggled when she was on Suits and
but she was married to like the super rich producer.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that she hasn't had hard things happen to her in her life. It doesn't mean that she whatever. But I think she is strategic and like good for her because how else do you make it in this industry?
Right. And it's a flex. It's like that's what I'm saying. It's like a flex to say now, like I didn't have it easy.
Right.
And it's just like, just shut up.
She had this one where she was like, I guess the whole thing was like about being a relatable mom or something. This episode. And so she was like, I had a bunch of friends over to swim in the pool, and this wasn't your pearls day. It wasn't your perfect, dresses. I'm like, no one thinks that. No one thinks that your day is like, no, you know what I mean? Like, what do we think this is, like an episode of Mad Men? Like, this is not what people think. This isn't what people think Gwyneth Paltrow's pool day is like. And she's like, and we got floats off of Amazon and, and the pepperoni one was more expensive than the regular cheese one. Like, the pepperoni floats. I'm like, is this what you guys think is funny? Like,
No,
this is why I can't have like the uber wealthy friends.
Well, here's the thing. This is what I've said from the very start. She and Harry are not funny.
Okay,
she has
fair enough.
no sense of humor.
Fair enough.
She's one of those people that I think even if I was hanging out with her, I don't even know if she would like laugh at what I'm saying. I don't even know if she gets. She's certainly not funny, or maybe she thinks it's worse.
I think she's funny in her group of friends, right?
No, I don't think she's funny. I think that she thinks she's funny.
Yeah,
and it's what she thinks is funny, like acting like she's doing the curtsy and stuff like that. That's what she thought was funny without thinking like a little bit more to why that wouldn't be funny.
Right.
And why you have curtsied and like you went to an all-girls school, you went to a private college, like shut up.
Yeah. Like you're pretty normal.
Like you had a really nice life.
Yeah.
Like you had like a really, and that's why, but I was on her side for not wanting to fuck with her weird sister. I was like, you don't need to be friends with this person. She is so desperate. She wanted to be an actress. Yes. I read the sister's book.
Yeah.
I'm happy that that Meghan won her defamation. That the sister was suing her and they sided with Meghan, that what she said on Oprah saying that, we didn't grow up together and my sister didn't even go by Markle for a while.
Sure.
They couldn't prove that wasn't true or was an opinion piece, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm all for people that try to say it was defamatory if it's not defamatory, and they should not be suing. Like, I'm not for that.
1,000%.
So, like, I believe that, no, I don't think they were close. If she was born when the girl was 18, you know what? They're not close.
No, they're not. And you'd have to really make an effort to get close. And the dad is weird. Like, the dad does seem really weird. And I also think, to her credit, like, I think it says something that she has the nice the niece.
Yes.
Right? Like, so lean into that narrative, right? She has the nice niece who she became, who she's become really close with. So
that I empathize with too.
Totally.
Because I don't talk to my sister. Right. Though I do really adored my nieces and stuff. Yeah. But there comes a time when if it's that contentious, and now put it on the largest scale.
Right.
And she said, how would it look?
Right.
If I invited you and not your weird sister.
Right. And she's already doing unhinged things, right? Like,
and
what
I felt
will she do?
so badly for the sister. And I felt bad for Meghan because of course she wanted the sister there.
Yeah.
I mean, the niece.
Yeah, no, but they're like almost the same
then
age.
The sister would be doing interviews and, being annoying and aren't we friends? No, you're not. No. You're not my friend. I don't care what you say, sister.
Right.
I don't care how much you do interviews saying, I love you. I went to your graduation. I want to be there for you. The sister doesn't like you, Meghan.
Yeah.
The sister, nothing would make the sister happier than if you and Harry broke up. That would make the sister's fucking day.
Yeah.
So she knows that about the sister.
But he's so obsessed with her.
He's so obsessed with her. Look at him in the window there.
My husband doesn't love me like that.
No, me neither.
But you called.
However, though, it'll be interesting to see with being on this stage and everything and where the podcast, how many more Netflix docs, like I've said, I don't think they're going to have a reality show because they're not funny. Where is their happiness going to be together a few years from now? I hope it lasts forever. But
what are they going to do, you mean?
I just think marriage is hard. And when you think that you're married a prince and you realize that the prince isn't particularly funny. He has one story to tell, and he's told it. And he's not a businessman.
Right.
He's not.
Yep.
What does he know about? He's not an entrepreneur. Has
Right.
he started a car wash?
No.
Like, no.
No.
Like, he doesn't know how to do business.
And
He
you have
doesn't.
so much
He's
money.
not. He doesn't know how to write movies. He
Right.
didn't go to film school. So, like, what? But people are going to give them stuff until they realize that they actually aren't qualified to do it.
What would you suggest they do? Because you called that they were going to move back to California. You called that years ago.
Thank you for recognizing. What do I think they're going to do?
Or what should they do? Like, what would you, Heather McDonald, you give great
So
advice.
hard.
You told them to move back here.
You
or
know
you
what?
suggested they move back here. Yeah.
I think they have to take a page out of Tori and Dean's
Yeah.
5th season of their show when they opened an inn. Or be like Mary and Sister Wives.
Yeah.
I think they need to open a bed and breakfast
Okay.
in Santa Barbara.
Okay.
And she is the avocado toast whisperer.
Yep.
Look that up. It was an
Mhm.
actual article
Yep.
that her friends say she makes the best avocado toast. So that's what you can have for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
He will tell stories about when he was at war and killed 25 people. And it's beautiful. And, and you can feed the chickens. And that's what you
I
do.
would go.
Yeah.
That sounds
That's what you do.
great.
Yeah. And
Okay.
and she can tell fun stories about how she struggled and how she had to make
Can I tell her
noodles
dry
in
bar
college.
story?
Oh, it's a dry bar story. Tell that. Okay.
Okay, this is and you know what? Two things can be true. You can like things about her, but you can also call this stuff out.
Yeah.
But here, we got to talk about this story. So she had this story, and I remember
Yeah.
reading this, like this was maybe right after they got married, and it had
Yeah.
been an article, because if you look at what she was like before she met him, she
Yeah.
was doing like the makeup tutorial with Bobby Brown. Like she was getting around. So she did this thing where she was talking about like how grateful she was to get hired on Suits. And so she tells the story of auditioning for Suits, which like, I guess like she's not super established because she had to actually go audition, right? Like if you're somebody who's really high up, you don't have to audition, right?
Right.
So anyway, she's like, I had to go to Dry Bar to get my hair blown out because it's all I could afford.
But I just want to say everybody has to audition unless you are like a
Reese Witherspoon.
really
Yeah.
big star. Okay,
Okay.
go on.
Okay. So she's like, I had to go to Dry Bar
Wow.
because that's all I could afford.
So she couldn't have an actual glam person come to her house.
I guess that's what it is.
Can I also say every audition I've ever gone on,
Yeah.
I have never gone to a dry bar or paid for glam. I remember I had a couple friends
Yeah.
that were starting to pay someone to come do their makeup.
Mhm.
No, I did not. I also didn't book a lot, but whatever.
But I feel like for an
but-
audition, is that big of a deal to go to Dry Bar? I feel like
no, it's not that
they
big
have
of
your
a
headshot.
No, it's not that big of a deal, but I'm saying still
Yeah.
it's a flex.
No, totally.
You still put $50 into
With tip.
with possibly not making it,
Right.
That's why it's like people you do a private acting session, which is like $75 or $100. And you're like, fuck, do I want to spend that money? But if I get this job, it's worth it.
Right.
Um,
Okay. So
yeah.
there's that.
So yeah. okay.
Then she's like, and I
Poor girl.
drove in
Yeah.
my beat up. It was like a Toyota Camry or Honda or something like that to the audition. And you're like, okay, first of all, those like my father would be like, well, that's a great car.
I'm
'cause
literally
it lasts
imagining her
forever.
like going on a Warner Brothers lot and it being like,
like something on a National Lampoon, like a clown car. And so like, okay, all of those things can be true, but at the same time, you were already married to that uber wealthy producer,
right.
and living in the house in Hancock Park. And like, have you seen that house?
Like it's not Jewel who lived in her van with
Right.
$11.
Right.
Which even that could have just been like a long weekend.
Little bit, right.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah. That can be a marketing thing. And so it's like
Yeah.
you were trying to sell this image of you, but then if you go and you see that house and you see where it is, you're like, yeah,
The house with the first husband.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've seen that house.
Yeah. And I haven't, but I assume it's nice.
like Father of the Bride, but set closer to the street. Like
Yes.
it's so gorgeous.
Right.
And maybe you have an older Toyota because you guys are like, oh, we're going to get a new car. Why don't you just finish this one out? But there was nothing about your life.
No,
that
it's like
was
it's like
struggling
someone
right
being
then
like,
financially.
I was a young mom and had 2 kids.
Yeah.
And we could not afford a Range Rover. I just want you guys to know that. I had to get a Lexus SUV instead.
Okay.
All my friends
Yeah.
had Range Rovers, custom. But I was like, you know
You
what?
know
That
what?
just
That's
that
okay.
I that
This
just
is the
wasn't
life.
in my
Yeah.
cards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's like. It's
yeah.
one thing if she was like, I fucking took the RTD.
Right. And
I-
there are people who audition like that. There are people who are like, I didn't have a car. There are people who
No.
are like, I used my last $50 to go to dry bar, but that wasn't your scenario. So just acknowledge. I think what she needs
I
to do
don't
is
think anyone would spend their last $50 in dry bar.
probably, I hope not.
I hope not.
I mean, I would have at like 20.
I mean, learn how to do your own care.
Fair enough.
But I agree. Like I love dry bar except for the movies they play. But I get it.
Yeah. So
but
she should, I think what she should do though
yes.
is be
What's
like,
your what? So I say open the inn. What do you think?
I think she needs to lean into more of like this narrative of like, okay, yeah, maybe I grew up like with, a little less than like, a Gwyneth Paltrow, but yeah, I was married before, and like talk about that. Like that is interesting.
Right. That's
Share
juicy.
some of that.
Let us know what made you. I mean, but according to the ex or whatever, I think it was that she was just looking for the next best thing. That's why I do kind of think, not wishing for any family to break up, that in like 5 years, she will be with a like hot Bill Gates.
I have to say, I've always really liked him, but like the more that I learn about him, the more I'm like, oh my God, I would never want to be married to him.
Prince Harry, he's
Yeah.
like, no, there's a lot, like there's a turnoff. Like
Yeah.
there's when it's like anybody that marries someone and they think there's an image of it. And if the love is not strong enough and then they start to see like, oh, wait, you were held back in first grade? I didn't know that. Oh, well, I was. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just saying I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Not that it matters.
Right.
But I didn't know that. And then it's like, oh, you're afraid of this?
Yeah.
Like, and then more and
More
more
and more
things
comes
are like,
out.
I'm ew.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a straight up turn off
Right.
that I didn't know.
Right.
Because they were living a long distance with the prince, paparazzi, everything
Right.
she
I'm
wanted, the
flying in
fame,
and
the
out.
love. He's good looking. He had all his red
Yeah.
hair. It's a lot.
It seems like a lot. And I used to say,
Yeah.
the best boyfriend, I always used to want a boyfriend who lived in New York City when I lived in Boston. I
Yeah.
was like, that would be the best boyfriend.
Yeah.
Because you'd only have to see him like twice a month. You'd see him
Yeah.
for like long weekends. I'd fly, I'd take the train to New York.
Right.
We'd have a blast. And then I'd
Right.
come home and it'd be like, whatever. That's what this was probably like.
Yes.
But you could do it flying either private or,
And
Right.
they talked about how hard that was.
Yeah.
That they had to figure out their calendars. And everyone's like, try being in a long distance relationship where you don't have the funds.
right. To
To
fly back and forth.
first
Right.
class without planning it like, 3 months in advance.
Right.
To even get a coach seat.
Yeah.
Ugh, girl, you're the best. And tell everybody, I'm going to go to you. Tell everybody where they can follow you and get all your deep dives and all the stuff.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. You can find me at Meredith M. Lynch on TikTok and on Instagram, just double clicking on it all.
Thank you. Love it.